So when you're communicating remotely, and this applies to also face-to-face, it's about adopting a communication style based around active listening. And so active listening is when you're actually asking those open questions, you're seeking feedback, and then you're listening for the response. And the listening aspect is about being completely present in that moment. So, you know, clearing your head and actually concentrating purely on that individual and what they are saying at that moment in time. And I think by doing that, then you will definitely be actively listening, and then you can hear the responses and take those responses into account.
Yeah, certainly. And I think this is so important, because classically, traditionally, perhaps the manager has felt that it's their role to lead the conversation, to drive the agenda. But before you do that, it is really important to check where your team are at. And by actively listening, you'll pick up signals, verbal and non-verbal signals, that enable you to respect what's the situation for the people in your team right now. And I think one of the things, as Faye said there, is ask really open questions, whether you're in a team context or in a one-to-one context. It's about how are you, what's going on for you right now, what issues are you facing, what ideas do you have, what hopes do you have. Pulling, you know, a lot of the conversation being where you are pulling for the other individual to express themselves. It's rather like an interview when you're first interviewing candidates. As a manager, you should not be the one doing all the talking. You should be opening up the opportunity for the candidate to do all the talking. And it's exactly the same here, where kind of 80% of the conversation would be around what the people in your team are saying, because in that way you can better understand and better enable them to deal with the challenges that they face and the opportunities that they identify.
And I think by asking those open questions as well, and actively listening and taking into account the responses, you're also demonstrating a genuine interest in that individual, and the individual will pick up on that. And I think that would be it's certainly a great thing for building the employee-employer relationship, is if an individual feels that my manager is genuinely interested in me and my family and my environment. So I think from an engagement point of view, there are many benefits that will come from asking those open questions and the active listening.
Yeah, certainly. I think what comes through all of this is the leader as an enabler, the leader as a listener, creating the opportunity and the environment to empower your team, moving away from that traditional 9 to 5 scenario to one where, through trust and creating the right working environment, your individuals can give of their best. And it's not just about this all being manager led, is it, Faye? I mean, we've got some examples where productivity can occur in different ways.
Yes, and I think one of the ways in which employees should be encouraged to be productive is to give them a remit to collaborate amongst themselves.
Yes.
So encouraging them to come together without the manager being present and begin to learn from each other, share with each other, do some knowledge transfer perhaps, but that they can organize themselves to work together.
Yeah, that's like a self-directed team where they don't have to wait for the manager to set the agenda. They don't have to wait until the manager calls a meeting. they can work together and collaborate together in small groups or large groups. They can communicate, as and when informally, as a way to create the energy and bring that energy and stay connected with each other, as well as staying connected with their manager. So don't wait for the manager if you're an employee, but if you are a manager, do create the time to enable those communications to happen, both ones including yourself and the ones where you empower your team.